Hey everybody, thanks for tuning into the Average LR Shooter YouTube channel again. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. We're going to be talking about my AR500 steel target setup. I know it's something a little different than what we normally do. I like to do a lot of shooting videos and review type things, but I feel like this is going to be something that a lot of you guys are probably wondering about. I don't see a lot of really good YouTube videos about people's steel target setups that, us normal people can actually afford. Like, I know Iraq Veteran's got a really good one where he goes through all of his shooting steel setup, and that's awesome, but we want something that average guys can actually afford. So that's what we're going to go over today. So let's get into it. We're going to go over all the different steel targets I have, what I use to hang them, and kind of the transport and storage of them. So stay tuned, we're going to get into it and start going through each one of my targets. Alright, so we're here with my very first AR500 target. I got it off Amazon. This is an 8-inch plate. And I think I paid, I'll throw out prices off the top of my head, but I'll paste them up in the screen, what I actually paid for them. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I got this one off Amazon, my very first target. And I use it mostly with my AR and shooting with pistols and kind of just trying to see if shooting steel was worth it to me. Paying $35 for just a chunk of metal like this, it seems kind of crazy, but I've had this thing for a few years now, and you can see it's barely dented up, and I'll show you guys one a little later that I've been shooting a while too, kind of how it's been holding up for me. It's one of my bigger silhouettes, but yeah, I'll show you that a little bit later. But this one's actually been holding up pretty well. There's a couple dings, right on the edges here, but this thing still has years and years of service left in it. So yeah, it was my very first one, and then kind of what I went to was this. This is one of my favorite steel targets that I have. It's a 2/3 IPSC silhouette, and I also got this one off Amazon. The previous one, the 8-inch circle, was from Shoot Target 7. Yeah, I'll paste a picture of the webpage so you'll be able to see where I got it and what for. Updated prices now, so that's even a little better. But yeah, this is a 2/3 IPSC silhouette. I've shot the crap out of this thing with everything. My 300 Win Mag, 223 and 5.56, all pistol rounds, and it's still in great shape. I don't even have any nicks on any of the edges. And when I first got it, I shot it, I was shooting it at 100 yards with my 223, and it started leaving little divots, which I'll show you here in a second. Alright, so here you can see a couple of these divots. These are on the back side, which this is why I flipped it over, so I wouldn't get any stray fragments coming back at me from these, unflat surfaces. But yeah, I have a theory as to why this happened, and I think I've gotten it taken care of. So we'll put you back on the tripod. Alright, so we're looking back at the front face of this, and those divots I was talking about, I originally had this thing hanging straight up and down on chains like this, just off of the board, and it was hanging straight up and down. So it would swing nicely, but this is a lot heavier chunk of steel than that 8-inch popper, or not 8-inch popper, just that 8-inch gong I was talking about. So it doesn't have as much give because it's heavier, obviously. So when those hotter 5.56 rounds were hitting it, it was leaving those divots. So what I kind of did to take care of that is I changed up the way I mounted it. And I'll give you a look at it here. And this has been working pretty well for me so far. But I'm using a long, I think this is 5-inch long lag bolt, 3/8 lag bolt, because I wanted a thicker bolt that would withstand getting hit. So I have it bolted hard to the plate here, this long extension to where it's bolted to the chain again, and that allows it to hang at this angle. And another thing that's nice about that is with having all this extra space on the bolt, you can slide this chain forward and backwards on that bolt to adjust how much tilt you have in your target. And the combination of this angle and its swinging really is going to make the target last longer and be a lot safer to shoot, because obviously that extra give and angle is just deflecting those bullets right away, and nothing's going to come back at you because it's just going to go straight down. So another thing with the way I have this hanging is, I know another reason that we all like to shoot steel is because of the sound. And with it free hanging like this, there's none of this 2x4 touching it, which could insulate the sound, right? So, this is just my hand in the ring. It's got a really good ring to it. Like, even when I'm shooting this long range, you can hear it from, 800 to 1,000 yards out. So I got a couple more of these 2/3 IPSC silhouettes. I haven't even shot them. I just got them in the mail the other day, so it'll be nice to get those out and do some training with them. You know, short range with the AR, and also like, you know, set one of these out at 3, another one at 4 and 500 yards. Just these silhouettes to kind of work on transitioning between different ranges with the M110. So we'll move to what are the next ones I got. Alright, so now we're looking at the 12-inch gong. This is, I think, on the third round of targets I bought. Yeah, this is one I got off eBay along with this one. I'm not sure if they're from the same seller, but I got both these at the same time because I wanted something that was 10 inches and something that was 12 inches. And I originally got these because my goal was to have a target every 200, or starting at like 200 yards, a target every 200 yards, beyond that all the way out to 1,000. So I could do quick transitions, you know, between different ranges and sometimes between different rifles, you know. Hop on an M110 to go out to 600 yards and then hop on the 300 Win Mag to go out to 1,000, or, you know, even further than that. And they've been working out for me well so far. I've shot this one as close as 25 yards with my AR. You know, the way it's mounted, I have it hanging at an angle again, along with this one. This one I've shot as close as 15, totally safely. You know, I haven't observed any fragments coming back at me or anything, but these both hang at a pretty severe angle because I'm shooting them so close, and that's kept me safe so far. Again, everything I'm talking about here has been my experiences. Other YouTubers or yourself just gotta have completely different experiences, but this is what I've seen so far. And there's one more target I got in this round, and I'll throw that up on the stand quick. Alright, so this is one I got around the same time that I got that 12-inch gong and the 10-inch silhouette. This one I actually got off of Amazon. It is a 18-inch square gong, 3/8 inch thick. All these targets so far have been 3/8 inch AR-500 steel. And I found, for my purposes, shooting up to 300 Win Mag, they've held up. You know, that's exactly what I needed for the job. If you were going to shoot anything bigger than 300, like maybe a 330 at Lapua, or maybe the 300 at a little closer ranges, you'd probably want the 1/2 inch. But for my purposes and everything that you guys have seen me do, this 3/8 inches work perfect for me. But yeah, this thing is mostly what I use for when I'm doing the longer range, like, you know, 800, 1,000. I think I've shot it as close as 600 yards. When I was shooting the 30-06 with Time Moto Vlogs, we were shooting this at 500 yards with the M110. But yeah, it works really good. You can hear it all the way out to 800 to 1,000 yards, especially with that 300. It really knocks the crap out of this thing. But yeah, it's a great target so far. I don't have any divots or nicks in it at all, even on the edges. It's relatively new to me. I've only had it for a year, so there's still a lot of trials that I have to do with it. But so far, it's worked out really good for me, and I think it's one that you should definitely check out, because I wanted to get a full-size IPSC silhouettes because I was used to the 2/3, but I wanted something a little bigger. So instead of forking out you know, what they go for like 100 to 150 now. I mean, the cheapest ones you can maybe get them for 100, but I mean, we're trying to do this on a budget here. So instead of getting that full-size IPSC silhouette, I got this, and you know, the 18 inches wide and tall. I mean, it's about perfect because it's wide enough that you'll still hit sometimes if your wind call is a little bit off, but you still have that width. And I believe the full-size IPS silhouettes, they're only 17 inches wide. So I mean, my elevation is, I'd like to say it's usually pretty consistent, but we're really training to call the wind, which is the great equalizer and all this. So having that extra width is really nice, and that's kind of what I got this target for. Another thing you might notice with this is this one's painted yellow. All the ones we've looked at so far have been painted white. And the reason for that is this is one I pretty much only shoot in the winter when the crops are out. And having a white target like the other ones, when there's snow on the ground in the fields, it'd make it pretty difficult to see. So I pretty much only shoot this one in the winter when the crops are out of the field and I'm doing long range, and it stays yellow for that reason. But I chose white on a lot of the other ones because those are the ones I shoot like during the summer when the crops are in the field and I can't get out and do long range, and I like to do my close range training with my AR and pistols. So a lot of times I'm shooting in trees or, you know, with a lot of green brush around because it's summer, so that white is I think gonna work really well. Alright, so yeah, we looked at each target individually and kind of what I use them for and how they've been working for me. So now we're gonna get into kind of these target stands and how I've kind of engineered them to work for me, and then we'll go into storage of them and how I transport them. Alright, so we're zoomed out a little bit. I'm going to show you how I kind of assemble my do-it-yourself target stand. It's pretty simple. It's basically just, two legs and then the main support that goes up the back that will hold the plate up here. So we'll go ahead and get that put together quick and we'll get to see how that goes. Basically how it works is there's a little locking piece down here. You can see where it says open and close. That keeps tension on these two legs and keeps them put together for when you're transporting them and carrying it around. So all I got to do is kick that little lock open, and I can get my legs out here, set my main support board up, and put my two legs in there, and it all works based on tension. Give a little push down, get the legs seated down nicely. That's pretty much how it works. This one's set up a little lower. Some of the other ones that I like to use when I'm doing my, AR-15 training and things where I want my silhouettes at torso level, I have these kind of adjusted to where they're more up like this, so my steel plate's hanging right about here. But this is one that works great for, when I'm shooting on the field long range, I'll hang a gong off of this. So yeah, this is the target stand all set up. I'm gonna bring you guys in here so you can kind of see the tensioning mechanism and how these legs stick in, because there's a design similar to this that I think I found it originally on like Google Images or something like that, but I kind of did a few modifications to it to make it a little bit more robust and more reliable after getting shot, by these high power rifle rounds. Alright, so we're zoomed in here on the area that keeps it all together. Originally when I found the design, it just had these two boards here. But I found after being shot, sometimes these can you can lose your tension here and this leg will fall out. So I put this little block here that lets this main board rest on it. And then even if things do loosen up or shake around a little bit, this block is going to keep it all together. So after adding that in and kind of making sure all my angles and everything were right, I ended up having a almost 100% reliable stand. The only thing that can really stop this is, putting a bullet through all this mechanism and everything. But the way I hang my targets, I adjust the chains long enough, that way the target comes down and hangs right about like this, so the steel is blocking that mechanism. And when these get shot, you can see there's bullet holes there, and then with the target bullets I'm using, that's all you really get out of it. This one hit right along the edge, so you can tell that's a lot worse, but these 2x4s are only a few bucks, and that's why this target stand is great. It's cheap, parts in it are easily replaceable, and it's pretty easy to transport. So that's a little bit on the stand. Now quick, I'll show you my Know Your Limits plate rack that I like to use when in training for precision rifle. Alright, so now we're zoomed in here on a little different target stand that I have. This is what I use or call my Know Your Limits plate stand. And hanging on it, we got the 12-inch gong, the 10-inch silhouette, the 8-inch gong, and then another one that I forgot to mention before, but it came from the same place, just Amazon Shoot Target 7. This is a 6-inch gong. So we got 12, 10-inch, 8.6, and I usually set this out at 400, 500, 600 yards, and with the M110 it's great training, at the 400 or 500 yards, and then put it out at 600, hitting it with the 6.5 Creedmoor, a precision bolt gun. These two, they start getting real small, especially when the wind's blowing. But yeah, this whole setup here, it's just a couple 2x4s with these metal sawhorse stands that you can get at Home Depot or Lowe's or pretty much any hardware store. Yeah, they're just these metal brackets that fold and bite into this top 2x4. So really, it's a super simple system. The way I have it set up is I'm running a bolt with a wing nut on the back through this joint here, and that locks everything down tight. I've never had this thing fall over on me even when the wind's blowing. So,
oh, you did it again.
And it comes apart in just these 3 pieces, and all the targets, they're just hanging on these screws that come off, and it's an extremely portable system. So, alright, so you've kind of seen all of my steel targets and my different stands that I use, and I mean, I'm just using cheap 2x4s that are easily replaceable and pretty light when when you're carrying the stands, and everything, all these targets and everything. I try to get these as cheap as I possibly could. I mean, I'm shopping on Amazon and eBay trying to get these, so everything that I'm using here is, I think, for what I wanted to use it for, the most inexpensive way to have a steel shooting range. That being said, along with everything being cheap and portable, it allowed me to, I don't get to go shooting as often as I'd like to, and I'm assuming pretty much all you had a pretty similar problem. I mean, we could go shooting every day if we could, but when I do get to go shooting, I'm going to take out as many targets as I can, and I want to get as much in one session that I can, because we don't always get out as often as we'd like to. So having these different steel targets and being able to afford, all the targeting stands on a budget really makes it so that when you do get to go to the range, you can get the most out of a range session, and that's what I'm all about with this setup. So, alright, so now we're here looking at kind of how I have things stored. It's literally just on the wall in my garage, to the side and out of the way. I just screwed in a couple 2x4s, and that holds all these up. You can see this is 4 of the tri-leg stands that I was showing you, and the Neuless plate rack, all stacked into what's 1.5 feet. And if I'm loading up in my vehicle, which is the Dodge Durango I use, that SUV, this is just, if I'm going to throw them inside the back, I'll literally just stack them up like this and throw them in, and they go in just fine. If I want a little bit more room in the back of my vehicle, these will sit on the top roof racks that a lot of SUVs have. Just lay them right on there flat, run a couple straps over them, and ratchet them down, and they stay just fine. So that's kind of how I have these stored and how I usually move them. And then as far as how I have the steel targets hanging, just on the wall in my garage again, and I have screws hanging up similar to the screws that are in the ends of these stands that hold the targets up. There's just screws hanging off some of the studs, hanging chains on them, and then when I get done with the day of shooting and I come back, all I do is I'll hang one up, hit it with some white spray paint to cover up all the shot marks from the day, hang it up there and forget about it until next time. Hang the next one, spray it, and then this is how I have it set up. It's it doesn't stick out more than a foot because of this angle, but yeah, they're out of the way, and you just hang them up after you're done shooting and forget about them. So again, thanks for tuning in to Average LR Shooter YouTube channel. I have to keep an eye out for more content. I got a lot of stuff I'm wanting to do. I know I took a couple months off because like I said, we got lives we got to get to, but there's a lot more stuff coming down the pipe, and I really appreciate you guys tuning in and watching this. I really hope this is helpful for some of you, because I know there's not a lot on YouTube about affordable target stands, because a lot of them that come from these bigger manufacturers, they're charging quite a bit for them, but this should be a little cheaper alternative for you. And make sure you tell me what you think. Comment down below, and subscribe and share these videos so other people can see what I'm doing, and hopefully use it for their setups. So we'll see you guys in the next one.